My name is Cabby. I'm the store manager here at the tile shop. Today during the installation seminar, we actually are going to cover everything from floors to walls to prep to the mixing to the tools needed. Okay, but before I get into any of that, what I like to talk about is what you're going to see at the tile shop. You're going to see natural stone, slate, marble, granite, travertine. You're going to see man-made tiles such as ceramic and porcelain. Okay, ceramic and porcelain, if you'll notice when you look around a lot of the boards, they're all trying to give you the look of stone. Okay, not all of them, but a lot. Stone doesn't date. That's the allure of it. That's why we do granite countertops and big stone field rock fireplaces, stuff like that, because it never goes out of style. If you look at a 400-year-old church in Europe with marble floors, it looks beautiful today. But if we look at a 50s bathroom with pink ceramic, we know it's a 50s bathroom. Okay. Ceramic, what is it? A question, people come in all the time, they go, what's the difference between a ceramic and a porcelain? Well, this is a ceramic. A ceramic is a clay-based tile with a glaze on it that's fired in a kiln, okay? The glaze is non-porous, all right? So it can't stain, can't scratch, it's very durable. But the belly, the actual clay is porous, meaning if I poured water on here, you'd see it absorb. What that means to you is you cannot put a ceramic outside in an environment where we have a freeze-thaw, because what will happen, it'll absorb a frost, expand, and crack, all right? For interior residential, ceramics fine anywhere. A lot of people come in and they go, I only want to see porcelain, I read that it's better. Well, it is a little bit more durable, but we have ceramic on our floor throughout our showroom, and we run a full cart with 2,000 pounds on it right over it, and it's fine. So interior residential ceramic will last forever. So you may find a ceramic that you like even better, and ceramic's usually a bit cheaper than porcelain, okay? A little more cost efficient. Porcelain is not a clay base. It's a bunch of minerals that are fired at super high pressure and high heat, giving it a non-porous bisque or belly. So it will not absorb a frost, okay? So you can put a porcelain outside, all right? So porcelains are very, very common. They're getting more and more popular because of their durability. But again, don't let a ceramic scare you, all right? There's different types of ceramic. This is a red clay, there's a white clay, there's a brown clay. So you can get your big box store 50-cent ceramic, but those are usually Mexican red clay ceramics with very little glaze. Those are the ones you gotta be careful of. Just, it could chip a glaze, the glaze is very cheap, all right? You wanna avoid those. We don't carry those here, so you don't have to worry. Now, this is a ceramic wall tile, made for walls only, okay? You can put floor tile on the wall, but you cannot put wall tile on a floor. It's the way it's fired. It's called monocultura, biacultura. I won't bore you with it. But what they do make with ceramic wall tile is called a bullnose. Now, if you put that on your wall, you would not want to see that edge, that exposed edge. It just doesn't look very good. So we make bullnose. So you put the trim piece there, and you get a nice finished edge. All right, so on a wall, that's what it's going to look like. Now, a lot of times I'll find clients in the floor tile and they'll say, I found my shower wall. We can do that, no problem. Right here we put a floor tile on the wall. But we used a piece of metal edging to trim it out because we do not make bullnose for floor tile. There's a lot of different pieces like pencils, Durans, Somersets, all these different profiles that we make that you can edge out tile with. So just because it's not a wall tile doesn't mean you can't put it on the wall. All right. Now, we talked about ceramic and porcelain. Let's talk about the natural stones we carry. First one I'll talk about is probably our most popular. It's called travertine. Travertine is a sedimentary stone. Okay, water and gas from the core of the earth gets stuck in all the sediment that falls to the bottom of lakes, geysers, and streams. It calcifies and hardens. That's where you get the holes and pocks. Okay. Travertine is very neutral. All those boards up there are travertine. A lot of our floors are travertine. I'm a big fan of it in my own home because I like to stay neutral. I like to up the value of my house using natural stone. And it's timeless. It's the thing about stone. So you can get it brushed where it feels like an orange peel. You can get it honed where it's very smooth. You can get it polished where it reflects light. It comes in 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch to 2 foot by 2 foot pieces. It's very versatile. Travertine is the most common and purchased stone out of any tile shop, I think just because of how neutral it is. Good for floors, walls, fireplaces, all that stuff. Next will be Slate. Slate is metamorphic. It's very textured, colorful. You bring the outdoors in with Slate because of the texture and the colors. You can still use this on a floor, walls, fireplaces, showers. You can put it anywhere. I don't like using it on countertops so much just because it's not gauged perfect, because it's natural. You put a cup there, it might rock back and forth, all right? Because every piece has a little bit of the imperfections in it. But again, very, very common. Next, we've all seen it, Granite, very popular, okay? It's igneous stone. It's very dense, naturally antibacterial. You can take a blade to it, it won't scratch, okay? That's why we put it on our countertops. I do a lot of fireplaces, I do a lot of countertops, I do a lot of bathroom showers. Not a whole lot of floors occasionally, but if you're gonna put granite on your floor, remember it can be slippery, okay? So you wanna make sure that it's in the right environment, okay, if you're gonna install this on a floor. Now, marble. Marble is a big resurgence in marble in the last 5-10 years, especially Carrara marble, white marble. Again, it's that timeless look, you know, Italian Carrara, very common. But marble, what you have to be aware of is it's a softer stone. Now, I took the razor to the granite. If I took it to marble, you can't really see because it's white. I just scratched it. You know, a lot of times I'll do it to a black piece of marble, just show people. Very common in master baths with just adults, fireplaces, backsplashes, formal entryways. Not your main thoroughfare through the mudroom in the garage, but if you have a formal entryway, people put marble. A little more care and maintenance with the marble, just because you have to use the right type of grout so you don't scratch it. But once it's down, it's durable. You can still run 1,000, 2,000 pounds over it. It's very dense, but it's a soft finish, okay? Now, a lot of people, they come in the store and their head's kind of spinning, you know, and I'll approach a customer and I'll say, what are you working on? A fireplace, but I don't even know where to start. I'll say, well, great, a fireplace is a natural focal point of any room. It draws the eye as it should. And I go, usually it's not a lot of square footage, so I tell people, you probably want to stick to a natural stone, okay? So it's timeless, it's not going to break the bank. I go, now do you want like a Southwest Mediterranean, neutral travertine? I go, do you want the formal look, the high gloss marble? I go, do you want to bring the outdoors in? Say you have a big bay window and you're looking out and you see all the lake or the trees and you want to bring those colors and textures in, we can do a slate. And right away they're going to say, we want slate. Great. I just eliminated 80% of the showroom and we can start over here. When you're selecting tile for any area, you want to ask yourself a few questions. What am I after design-wise? How much natural light do I have? Do I have a window? How big is my area? What size tile is going to fit that area? Okay, these are all questions that, you know, pertain to design, but are going to make the tile project look that much better. All right. When we start talking about prepping the subfloor and stuff like that, I'm going to get away from design. When we start doing the actual tile work, mixing stuff, we'll get back into it. Okay. So we've talked about the different types of tile and stone we carry. Later we're going to talk about the different accessories you can also purchase that match all these. Give it a nice look. All right. The most important part of any tile project, actually I don't want to get ahead of myself. 80% of any tile project is prep and layout. Remember that. Prep and layout. Once you start mixing your thin set and adhesive, you're moving. You know, you only have so much time before that hardens. So your tiling project's gonna go fast. If you did your prep and your layout right, it'll turn out gorgeous. All right? So let's start with the basics, the subfloor. Okay? Now, a concrete slab is your best subfloor for tile. It's not gonna move unless you have a crack. If you do have a crack in your concrete subfloor, or your slab, that's gonna move, okay? Hairline cracks, don't worry about them. I'm talking 1/8-inch gaps. Those are gonna move throughout the year. So if you have that, you wanna put an anti-fracture membrane over that crack. Okay, that's gonna absorb the deflection. Okay, it's gonna absorb it, move it horizontal, not let it go up and affect the tile, okay? Or if your slab's on level, we wanna make sure we get it level before we tile. And there's self-leveler products out there that I'll cover. Now, what if you're not tiling over a concrete slab? Code today for building a house is 3/4 inch plywood. Okay, now you can put carpet on there, vinyl on there, you can put laminate on there, wood products can go over 3/4 inch plywood, not tile. Okay, the enemy of tile is movement or deflection. All right, so we got to stiffen up that subfloor. All right, now how do we do it? Well, the most common is going to be your cement board or your hardy board or tile backer board. There's a bunch of them on the market. Today I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch hardy board. Now the Tile Council of America, they make all the building codes for tilers and things like that. They state you need 1.25 inch subfloor to set tile. So if we already have 3/4 inch plywood, we need to add a 1/2 inch backer board. Okay. Now they carry these in 1/4 inch also because sometimes different year of the home, they already have an inch slat board or something like that where you don't need to add a 1/2 inch. So they also do come in 1/4 inch. When you're going to install a backer board on a floor, we want to make sure to stagger the seams. All right? Before I get into that, let me grab this board. I'm going to show you. As you can see here in this example, we have a plywood subfloor. Then we have thin set. And don't get confused. When I say adhesive, mortar, or thin set, it's all the same thing. Okay? So you're going to put down a layer of thin set with your trowel on the actual plywood. Then you're going to put your board down. And then you're going to screw it. So we call it glue it and screw it. When putting a piece next to another piece, leave an 1/8 inch gap. We don't want to butt them tight. Because again, in the Midwest where we're at, freeze, thaw, our houses move a lot. And we don't want them to stress and crown. Okay, if two boards are right next to each other, they crown up, then you're going to have a cracked grout joint or a pop tile. That's why we want to leave a little gap between the boards. We also want to make sure we stagger the seams. So we don't ever want 4 corners meeting, okay? That's a natural weak point, okay? So what we want to do is stagger the seams. So when I'm installing, I'll spread my thin set. I'll put down a board. Something like that. You're going to have, depending on the layout of your room, you're going to have cut pieces of board. Now, so we've glued it, we've screwed it. Now I say every 6 inches around the perimeter, every 8 to 10 in the middle. That's solid. That's not moving. We do not use nails. Nails squeak. Okay? They can give. All right? So, once you have your backer board down, you think you got it good, now I want you to jump. Hop. All over your room. Okay? What you're listening for is that squeak. If you have a squeak, boom, slam a screw in there. It usually alleviates that squeak. The worst is when I go out to a client's house or a builder who just did a house and I'm walking around on a brand new tile floor and I hear a squeak. I'm like, ooh, that's going to be tough to fix unless you want to tear out that tile. No one wants to tear out any tile. So make sure you alleviate those squeaks before you tile. All right? Now, I just went over backer boards. There's a lot of other ways to get your subfloor sturdy enough. There's something called a mud set. A mud set was very common, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, into the 90s. There's still people that do it today, but it's rare. It's a lost art. It's basically adding a cement slab to every room of your house that you're setting tile. All right? It's probably the best underlayment, but you are going to add height to that floor. Okay? I would not recommend any do-it-yourselfer trying to do a mud set floor in their first few times. I mean, this is something you need to be a journeyman at for a long time. You're adding a lot of weight to your structure. It isn't a self-leveler, so you got to make sure you got your rake set up and you're tamping it right. It's just something I would avoid if you're not comfortable doing it. Okay? I just tore out a mud set in my bathroom because my wood floors had a big transition up to my bathroom. I didn't like that. So I tore out 1.25 inches of mud. And you just did a big scraper bar and prying it up, and you got metal lath, just a mess. But once I got it up and out, I was down to my 3/4 inch plywood. There's a membrane out there that's only 1/8 inch thick. It's called Permat. It's a great membrane. It's got an anti-fracture membrane on the bottom, and you can thin set that down, and then you fill it. It's got a plastic grid on it. You fill it with thin set. It's only an 1/8 inch thick, but it acts as a 1/2 inch thick backer board. Sounds great, right? Why don't we use it for everything? Well, for your backer boards, you're spending less than 80 cents a square foot. For that per mat, you're up to about $3.50 a square foot. So that's why I only did it in a 20 square foot bathroom. Okay, it wasn't a very big area, and now I have it's level with the wood floor. It's great. In my other areas, there's still transitions. It's just how it is. Okay, but that's another way. What do we do here in Minnesota quite a bit? We love to heat our floors. Okay, very popular. The cost of heat has gone down over the last 5-8 years quite a bit. So it's nice. Well, how do you do it? It's a wire that you coil back and forth on your floor, right? Well, how are you going to spread thin set over that wire? So what people are doing now is they're using a self-leveler quite a bit. A self-leveler will pour at a 1/4 inch thick. It's that very top one, okay? When you pour it, it's like pouring soup on your floor. So you have to be very diligent to make sure that that floor is dammed off and watertight. I'm talking, you have a heat vent in the floor. You put a piece of plywood over that vent, silicone around it. You tape all the seams in your plywood. You put a 1x2 dam in your doorway, silicone under it. Your toilet flange, you tape in silicone around it. I've had people call me and they go, I see a vortex. It's going somewhere. I'm like, you better figure it out because you're pouring concrete down your walls. You know, this floor has got to be tight. All right, but I did this in my basement and I was surprised at not only how fast it went, but how easy, because it was just one guy mixing and I'd grab it and I'd pour. And I'd come back, grab my next bucket and pour. And I did 450 square feet in 45 minutes. Now, it goes fast. And now you embedded your wire so you can come back the next day and go ahead and set your tile on a flat surface. So you can do it on any floor. You can do it over plywood, you can do it over concrete, but you want to make sure everything's dammed off tight before you use this product. But it's a great product. Again, it's only a 1/4 inch thick, but it acts as a 1/2 inch thick backer. Okay? Here you're going to see setting ceramic floor tile. Here you're going to see setting ceramic wall tile. I'm basically going to combine the steps and let you know when you have to use it a little different. Wall tile. 1/2 inch thick backer board has to be used on the walls. That's it. You don't need 3/4 inch plywood plus your 1/2 inch. You're not walking on the walls. We're talking in high moisture areas right now. Showers, tub surrounds. Okay? You need 1/2 inch backer board screwed right to the studs. All right? One thing I forgot, when you have your backer board down, remember we left it an 1/8 inch gap between the boards? What we're going to use is called mesh tape. The reason I didn't talk about it before is I usually don't do this until I'm setting the tile. Okay? Once I'm setting the tile and I get to a seam in the backer board, I take the tape and I put it on the seam, self-adhesive, and then I'll take the flat side of my trowel. See how this has notches? Take the flat side, take some thin set, squeeze it in there. You're bonding the two boards together. In a little bit I'm going to tell you a story how it was a $26,000 mistake because the guy didn't buy $20 worth of this. Okay? Very important. Back to walls. We're still going to use 1/2 inch backer board on the walls in high moisture environments. We're still going to tape the seams. Okay? Very important. Now, what about a backsplash? Do you need backer board on a backsplash in a kitchen? No. You can go right on sheetrock. All right? You can see here, we call this a wainscoting. You know, in bathrooms, it's very popular to go halfway up the wall around the bathroom. Does that need to be on backer board? No. You can put that right on drywall. It's not a high moisture environment. Okay? Fireplaces, I do like to use a backer board a foot around the firebox because it's just better for the heat. All right? Outside, of course, you'd be going on a concrete slab, so there's really not much to talk about there. So we talked about preparing the surface. Now we're going to talk about layout. This is one of the biggest things, the mistakes I see out there when people are do-it-yourselfers. I made my own mistakes on my first few projects. All right? You can tell if someone ran home with their tile and just started mixing glue. Let's go for it. And you can tell when someone took their time. All right? The human eye is trained to pick up on inconsistency. And when you're dealing with grout joints and lines, you want everything to be consistent, level. Okay? On these floors, we have long runs, and behind you all the way to that door is a grout joint. And the first thing I do when I walk into someone's house and they have a tile floor is I'm looking at the grout joint. Then you can tell reflection off of windows how flat that floor is set. The reflection. It's a perfect reflection if the floor is perfectly flat. If you have a piece that's kinked this way or a piece that's lower here, the reflection is going to be all over the place. And you can tell right away this floor was not done properly. Okay? I'm looking for sliver cuts, things like that. Let me explain. First thing I'm going to do is cover a typical tub surround, okay, or wall tile application. Oops. So we got a tub surround here. Let's try to make it level. All right. So let's say we're dealing with an 8-inch by 10-inch tile. So I'll ask people, we always want to start on the back wall. I go, how are you going to set your tile? Well, we'll just start on one corner. We're going to work our way across. What's going to happen over time is the grout joints are going to start angling. Okay, the first row is going to go up all right. The second row, you're going to start fidgeting with the tile, and you're going to be like, I got to shim this one up. The third row, good night. Tear it all down. The problem was the tub was never level to begin with. Okay, the proper way to do something like this, to do the layout, let's find our center of the back wall and snap a line. Then we're going to take a measurement. Then we're going to take a measurement from here across. What I like to do is take my tile and cut it in half. Say our measurement from here to here is 60 inches, 5 feet. Okay? I'm going to lay out my tile 5 feet on the floor using spacers in between each tile. And I'm going to go, okay, I have a full tile there, but where my measuring tape stops at 5 feet, I only have a little sliver of tile. I'm going to have to adjust my layout over so I have the same size cut here as I have here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up this wall here. I'm going to go up 5 inches. And I'm going to use a level and snap a level line across. And over here, it's 5 1/8 from the tub. Here it's 5 inches. Well, the tub's not level. Okay? So at this 5-inch mark, we're going to put what we call a ledger board. Okay? You can use a piece of 1x2. Metal edging works great. Anything straight. And we're going to tack it on that back wall because guess what? These tiles down here will go in last. Now that we know our layout, we figured out we have to split that middle line with our full tile, and we'll have the same size cut on both sides. Now I know my grout joint is level. I have the same size cut on both sides. I can start going in a pyramid fashion and installing the tile. When you look at our displays, you're going to always see a cut tile off the shower floor or a cut tile off the tub. Very rare do you start with a full tile. Okay? Remember that. Then you want to make sure to take that measurement from the top to the bottom, do the same measurement, make sure your top tile is a nice size. A sliver cut's anything less than a quarter of the tile. Okay? We don't want little tiny tiles. All right? It just doesn't look like the layout was done properly. Now, do you remember when we were talking about bullnose and wall tile? Okay? So for the side walls, we're going to change the rules here. Remember, we're going to have a line of bullnose going down the side. Okay? So what we want is bullnose, full tile, full tile, full tile, full tile cut. We want our cuts in the back corners. We don't want a bullnose cut tile, full tile, cut tile. We want as much full tile as we can see on the side walls, as much full tile on the back wall. All of our cuts are in the back corner. It's a clean look. Okay? Same thing goes for like a backsplash. The counter ends here, the wall continues. I want my full tile here, running all the way into the corner where that wall, and I'll have my cut tile in the corner. I don't want a cut tile here. It just draws the eye. It doesn't look very good. Start with full tiles on the edges, okay? Same thing here, full tiles up into the corner, all right? Now, there's an awesome video called Layout. It's 3D, it takes about 5 minutes to watch. You can stop, rewind it. Awesome video online, tileshop.com or on our YouTube channel. I really would advise watching this before you do any of your projects. I could sit here for an hour and talk layout with everyone, but remember, no floor is truly flat, no wall is truly square, okay? You're gonna have to fur out some things and start at different places, all right? Let's talk about floors real quick. Let's do a typical tub, toilet, vanity, door. Again, we want to find our center and our center. We'll use a carpenter's square to see how square our room is. They're never square. It's so rare that doesn't matter how expensive your house is. Rooms are very rarely square. So we may need to adjust this working line a tad. Now what we want to do is dry lay out a box of tile. Top to bottom, side to side. This is where we realize we may need to adjust our layout. If this wall is straight and square, I would start with all my full tile going this way, hide all my cuts under the vanity behind the toilet, okay? I like full tile. There's no reason to have cuts around every part of the room. Okay, I like to see as much full tile as possible. Now you can see the floor I'm standing on is staggered. Some people like to stagger their tile where it's something like that. Well, then you're going to have a cut regardless. That's just the design. So it really doesn't matter. You're always going to have cuts everywhere you go. So we want to dry lay out the tile, know if we have to adjust our layout going up or down or side to side, but we know at least we're squared up. Now, do you lay out the whole floor? No. Just one row and one row. Snap your lines. Once you get that first row set, you can go off that. Now remember, don't tile yourself into a corner. Once you set your tile on the floor, you cannot step on it for 24 hours. I've been there. You gotta be all Spider-Man getting out of the bathroom, all right? Nightmare. So always have an escape plan to get out of the room, okay? Cannot step on the tile. This is where it can get kind of confusing. I'm going to make it as easy as possible. You can see floor tile, it says mix thin set adhesive. Wall tile, trowel, mastic evenly. Now, what's mastic? Mastic is the only pre-mixed glue that we sell, okay? Can you use mastic on a floor? No. Can you use mastic outside? No. Can you use mastic in a high moisture environment? No. Can you use mastic on a fireplace? No. Where can you use mastic? On a backsplash. It's the only place I recommend using mastic. Mastic, it takes a few extra days to fully cure and harden, okay? That's a problem, especially for floors. I had a client who bought a full fireplace of dry stack slate a couple years ago. He installed it, put his TV up. The next day he had a Super Bowl party. And a bunch of friends came over, turned on the ball game, turned on the fireplace. Everyone had a great time. Everyone left. Time for bed, cleans up, turns off the fireplace, goes to bed. 2 in the morning. Whoosh! That's all he hears. I mean, it scared everybody in the house. Explosion. They run downstairs. The mastic was dried out from the heat, and it released, and all the tile fell to the floor. And I didn't sell him the mastic. He got it from his contractor, thank God. But yeah, there's a lesson, learn. Do not use mastic on a fireplace, all right? High moisture environments, I just think a thin set it's a stronger grab. That's why I use mastic in showers and tub surrounds. So if you're doing a backsplash, great, mastic, I use it all the time. If you're doing a wainscoting in a bathroom just on the drywall, mastic, no problem, okay? But floors, fireplace, that kind of stuff, no. So, thin set. We carry quite a few different types of thin set. Which one do you need? Well, let's talk about it. Our first one is called Pro Flex. Comes in white and gray. Mixed with water. Comes in 25, 50-pound bags. It has some latex. So, remember when I was talking about ceramic and how ceramic has a porous underbelly? It'll absorb moisture. Will also absorb thin set. See, a ProFlex interior residential is perfect for a ceramic. Okay, it's got some latex. Latex just gives it bonding, grabbing power, and a little bit of flexibility. Okay, so if it's ceramic and it's going on the floor or wall, ProFlex is pretty good. Why does it come in white and gray? If you're using a light colored grout such as white, ivory, whisper gray, something like that, you want to make sure to use a white thin set. And I'll make some initial mistakes on purpose here to show you when we start tiling here in a little bit on why you would use a white thin set or a gray thin set because of your grout. I had a client in Iowa, she bought a full bath white marble, beautiful, spent a lot of money on it. She called me and she said, the walls don't look right. So what do you mean? She goes, they're all cloudy, it's all gray. And I'm like, uh-oh, I know what happened. I go, let me come out. And I drove out and she goes, when's it gonna dry? I go, it's dry. This is it, finished product. This is what you got. I go, your installer used gray thin set. He should have used white. If he's an installer, he should have known a white marble is translucent. It will take the color behind it, shine it through. White thin set with white marble. Glass tile. If you're using glass, I've gotten the call. My glass looks brown. Yours in your store looks beautiful. It's all blue. What color thin set use? Gray. Well, that's your problem. It's like shine right through. Okay, so white thin set when you're using a white grout. White thin set when you're using a translucent marble or onyx or a glass. Ask somebody, a sales associate, we can make sure you get the right color thin set. All right? Mix with water. When you mix your thin set, only mix a little bit at a time. See how much you can use. You know, don't mix a whole bucket. You just created an anchor because you'll not use all of it. You have about 25 minutes of open time. Open time is the time allowed before the thin set starts to skim. Now we've all seen the gravy at Thanksgiving. It gets that little skim across the top. Thin set's the same way. Once it starts to do that, do not set tile on it. It will no longer bond to the tile. So you have about 20 to 25 minutes of open time before that's going to start to happen. So you want to make sure to only mix up enough that you can use in that amount of time. Okay? 25 and 50 is just how big is your project. You may only need a 25-pound bag. That's going to give you roughly 30 to 40 square feet depending on the size of trowel you're going to use, and that depends on the size of tile you're going to use. We'll get into that, but ask somebody, will get you the right amount of thin set. We talked about white and gray. Water. You mix with water. You don't need any special latex or anything to mix with this. Just mix with water, okay? Not hot water. You know, just cool water is fine, all right? When you mix your thin set, you want to use a mixer bar or a paddle mixer. Don't think you're going to do it by hand, all right? I'm going to mix it by hand because I'm doing 2 square feet, and my shoulder will get sore just from doing that. If you're going to do anything 10, 20, 30, 100, 500 square feet, get a mixer, okay? You're going to put it in a drill, and you're going to mix it in a bucket, okay? Just put it in your drill and start mixing it. Now, when you mix any type of thin set or grout, always add the powder to the liquid. Put the liquid in the bucket first, add your powder, and then go ahead and use the drill and mix it up. What we're looking for is toothpaste consistency, okay? Peanut butter. My favorite is soft serve Dairy Queen ice cream. If you get it there, you're good. People call me, they're like, I think I got mayonnaise, but it might be peanut butter. I'm like, no, you're good. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Don't worry about it. Now, ProFlex, run of the mill. Next would be ProFlex Platinum. All right, ProFlex Platinum. Again, white and gray. Mix with water. 25 and 50. This has more latex. This whole showroom was set with ProFlex Platinum. floors, walls. It's great for porcelain, because remember, porcelain's not going to absorb anything. You need grabbing power, so it's got a lot more latex to lock onto there. All right. It's pretty much the same. Open time is 25 minutes. You mix it the same way. You mix it with water. So if you're using a stone tile or a porcelain tile, you're going to want to use the platinum. All right. So then we have Pro Bond. Pro Bond non-sag. Now, non-sag, it's basically the same makeup as your platinum, but it's got a catalyst in there that speeds up the grabbing power. So if we're using a heavier wall tile, we're going to want to use the Pro Bond. Okay, Pro Bond is going to be great. If you set a tile right on the wall with Pro Flex, and you set a tile right on the wall with Pro Bond, you come back 5 minutes later, the Pro Flex will have sagged a little bit. That Pro Bond will not have moved. Okay. So it's the same price as the platinum. Contractors love it because they can use it on the floor and the wall, but it's great for heavier wall tile. You know, when I was showing you those big pieces of travertine, that's a heavy piece. Now usually you're going to start on a ledger board and work your way up where it's not going to sag anyway, but you still like it to grab faster. Okay, so if you're doing any heavier wall tile, Pro Bond's the way to go. Now the top, best of the best, Mama Chapina. Pro-lastic. Pro-lastic is part A, part B. No water. This stuff is sticky. You want to tile over tile, you can do it. You want to tile outside, you can do it. You want to tile over really any unquestionable surface, we're not going to warranty it, but it will stick to it. You know, it will stick, but if it's moving, it's going to crack, okay? This is for mainly outdoor use or tiling over tile. I used it on my kitchen floor, and I wasn't wearing gloves, and this is why I'm a tile salesman, because I'm not an installer. I look like Pigpen when I'm done with a tile installer. I got thin set everywhere, you know, that's just how I am. And I had it all over my hands, and my hands were dried out for a couple weeks. I should have worn gloves. It's straight latex to the powder, no water. This stuff is super, super sticky. It's great. Now, why wouldn't you use it for everything? If it's that great, it's going to cost a little bit more. You're looking at about 40% more in the cost of your thin set if you're going to use Prolastic. You're doing a swimming pool, this is what you're going to use. This stuff is tough stuff. Great. Now, the stuff I'm going to use, hopefully you'll never use it, is called ProFlex Accelerated. This is only sold to people who ask for it by name. Remember when I say you go about 25 minutes before it just starts to skim? Even when it starts to skim, you can still move the tile for a while. 6-8 minutes, you're done with this. Once you mix it, you're done. I mean, it grabs, you're over. This is for repair jobs, commercial activity where they need to be on the floor right away. You know, they got to repair it and be out of there. This is accelerated. The reason I use it is so I can show you guys how to grout in a couple minutes, okay? Now, I have 3 buckets. You're going to need 3 buckets for every installation. 1 bucket of water, 1 bucket to mix your thin set in, and 1 bucket to mix your grout in, okay? So I got my 3 buckets, one's filled with water. I'm going to, I don't want to dump it up here, you guys will be covered in it. It's very dusty, all right? Make sure you mix everything outside. And do not pour anything down your drain. Add my accelerated. I'm looking just for that peanut butter, mayonnaise consistency. This is gonna have a few lumps in it, because this is going in the trash. All right, so don't beat me up. This is a margin trowel that I'm using. Once your thin set will hang off like that, you're good, okay? This margin trowel is great for mixing up small batches, pulling thin set out of the bucket, throwing it on the backer board. But then you always take your tools throw them in the bucket of water. You don't want your thin set to dry on your tools. Now I got my trowel lines to go the same way. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to be setting a subway tile. Very popular tile these days because I think of how timeless it is. I think subway tile is the only ceramic tile in the world that will not date. Turn of the century Victorian, it's modern loft living. So I got a good base there. Now, when you take your tile, you don't want to just set it there nicely and go, ooh, that looks good, and grab my next tile. When you got your tile, you want to push down. What you're doing is you're pushing that air out under it. You're creating a suction. So you're just going to start moving. Now, you never want to take your tile and start too far away, like this. Because then, see all that thin set that just popped up in there? Not a good idea. Because then you just have to clean that out. So I start close, pull away. Always having a level on hand, okay? On a floor, a good example would be to grab a glass out of your cabinet. So when I'm setting floor tile, I set 1, 2, 3, 4. I take my glass out of my cabinet and I go over the tile and the grout joints. If it goes kink, I'm like, oh, that tile's high. I gotta pull it up, scrape a little thin set off of it, put it back down so it's level. Because once you grout it, you know, there's lippage all over. You know, when you have this much tile, you're gonna have some lippage because we run with ceramic on our floor, porcelain, stone. Getting it all the exact same height is virtually impossible, okay? You want to avoid lippage, okay? That's why you take that glass out. Make sure everything's level as you go. All right, if this was my house, would have taken me 15 minutes instead of 4, to do this, because I'm taking my time as I go. You're gonna have outlets on a backsplash. You're gonna come up to your mixer in your shower. You're gonna have to cut around it, So, yeah, it's not as easy as this, but it's not that difficult either, okay? So now that we're gonna let this set up a little bit, I'm gonna take you into the wet saw room, probably half at a time. I'm gonna show you how to use the wet saw and give you tips and tricks on how to cut tile, okay? When we're done with that, we'll be ready to grout. First thing we always cover is your field, all right? You want to talk about the field tile, all right? Then you want to talk about the frills. Once you find your field, you talk about the frills. Now we pick out your design element, your decorative listellos, things like that, okay? After the frills, we talk about function, okay? We talk about your corner shelves, okay? Your curb pieces, your thresholds, all the things that are going to make it come together. And then we talk about foundation, basically how to install everything we just figured out. It's the 5 F's, okay? You want to follow that. If some people come in here and they're doing it backwards, and it makes it harder on the customer, it makes it harder on everybody. Finding the tile before you find the decorative, right? Some people find a decorative, and then you know how hard it is to find a tile that goes with it, so. And then talking about the corner shelves that are going to work with it, it's a road map. You follow the map, it's easy, okay? Now that this is good and solid, set, not going anywhere, let's talk about grout. There are 2 types of grout. Sanded grout and unsanded grout. Sanded grout has silica sand that acts as a filler. Basically, if your grout joint is an 1/8 inch or larger, you need to use sanded grout. Okay, it's stronger, it's going to hold up better. If your grout joint is smaller than 1/8 of an inch, you have to use unsanded grout. Okay, sanded grout won't fit into that small joint. So again, with marble, it's very soft. You want to keep a really tight grout joint and use unsanded grout. All right. Now we have a lot of marble boards that are grouted with sanded grout. People say, well, why do you do it? You can go bigger joints on it. You just have to be careful and mix it up a little bit looser and be gentle. You don't have to wrench your grout in there as hard as you can. Just gently pack it in and then it won't scratch. But if someone doesn't know what they're doing and they're pushing hard, and then potentially that sand is going to scratch. Glass tiles made of sand. Okay? Sand can scratch glass, right? But all of our glass boards are grouted with sanded grout. It's okay, all right? Just go gentle, all right? Now, I prefer sanded grout. I just like a stronger grout in my tile. What we mix our grouts with is called flexible grout admixture. All right? This is straight latex. The best benefit is when you use admixture with your grout, this will cure in 48 hours. Meaning you can seal your grout, you're done. If you mix your grout with water, it could take 3 to 4 weeks to fully cure, just like cement. Okay? You have to wait that long before you can seal it. That doesn't mean you can't use the shower or walk in the. No, you can do that, but you have to wait that much longer to finish your project. Okay? So grout admixture, it also holds the color a little bit better. Okay? Sometimes water, too much water mixed in with grout will whitewash the pigment out of the grout, and then it'll turn out a little bit lighter than you wanted it. Okay? So I'm going to mix my grout with my flexible grout admixture. Add that to the bucket. Same thing with grout is you want to mix it, let it. I always like to let it sit for 2 minutes, come back, remix it. Yourself a grout float. Rubber grout float. Now I use this front edge more than anything, the rounded edge. I don't use the square edge. It's just good to get as much off as possible. Alright. Now, when you're grouting, what you want to do is about a 5 by 5 area at a time before you start cleaning off the grout. Don't do the whole room and then come back 2 hours later and think you're going to clean it off the tile. Alright? It's going to be tough. So do a 5 by 5 area at a time. Take a nice grout sponge. You'll notice when I wring it out all the way. You don't want a lot of excess water all over your tile. Again, you're just whitewashing the pigment out of your grout. And once I started using that, it was amazing. I'm like, that's all it took, you know, because I always had haze. People come in here all the time, like, oh, I have so much haze, because they just were messy and basically like how I was. So if I were to do this over here, knock it over here, clean this up here, now it's all going to be hazy. But it looks great right off the bat, you know. No fear, we have haze remover. If you have haze, grout, haze, and film remover. Now, this is a light acid wash for your tile. You cannot use anything acidic on marble. There's another product called stone poultice to take haze off marble. Don't ever put anything acidic on marble. If you have marble vanities at home now, don't use scrubbing bubbles or Lysol or any of that stuff. It will take the finish off instantly. Okay? So if you have haze on marble, talk to us, we'll get you the right product. Anything else, haze remover will do the trick. All right? That's only on a heavy haze. If it's a light haze, go ahead and take a cotton towel the next day. That'll usually take it off. But if it's been on there a while and it's a thick haze and it's not coming off with a cotton towel, that's when you need to acid wash it. Okay? Now another product we have is called Grout Release. Why we would use Grout Release is for heavy textured slates or porcelains. You know, this was easy. Glass and ceramic, the grout came off right away. When you have something with bumps and crevices, it's a bear to sponge that grout off there. Okay? What Grout Release does is it acts as like a film between the grout and the stone, or the grout or the porcelain. It's kind of like film, like a Tide detergent. That's the consistency of it. Once you spread it on, wait about 10 minutes, go ahead and grout, and the grout will come right off the tile easily. And then you just wash it when you're all done with regular soap and water, and it'll come right off. Okay? Then you wait a couple days, and you seal your grout and your stone. Let's talk about that. sealing. Remember, if you're using a ceramic or a porcelain or a glass, the finish is non-porous, okay? So it's not going to absorb a stain. So we don't seal the tile itself. We seal the grout. If you have ceramic or porcelain, you just want to seal the grout, you can get either a penetrating sealer. It's a 3 to 5 year sealer for like 20 bucks. You double the price, you get a 10-year sealer. It's made for stone though, but it's great for grout, all right? But we grout, we wait 48 hours because we used our Admix, and then we use our sealer on our grout joints, and we're good to go and we're done. If you're using stone, travertine, granite, marble, you set your tile. The next day or whenever before you grout, you seal the stone. Once you're done sealing, wait about 15-20 minutes, then you can grout. After you're done grouting, wait a couple days, put another coat of sealer on. This way you get the stone twice and the grout once. Okay? All stone is porous. It all needs to be sealed. Even granite. Granite is very dense, but it's not going to stop anything acidic from etching it. We've all been to a restaurant, a hotel, or maybe even at home. You see those rings on the granite tops. That's from lemonade, orange juice. Anything acidic sitting there will etch. It's a chemical reaction, will etch the stone. Sealing your stone, you can avoid that. Okay, it won't etch it. But then, just because you sealed it, you still have to maintain the sealer. Now this sounds like a lot. It's not. Just grab a neutral cleaner. Target, Home Depot, Tile Shop. We sell cleaners made and designed for ceramic and for stone that won't affect your sealer. Okay, it's neutral, non-acidic, so everything will stay beautiful and look great. All right, we don't need those heavy, harsh chemicals. Now that this is done, the grouting, I'd like to say you're finished. Not quite. This is called silicone. We also have matching caulking, acrylic caulking. Remember when I said tile meets tile, you leave 1/8 of an inch? Wherever tile meets another vertical surface or horizontal surface, any 90-degree angle, you have to caulk that or put silicone. Reason being, the walls move. Okay, the wall and the floor, they're gonna move. That grout will crack. If you walk around some of our displays, you'll see where they put grout in between the wall tile and the floor tile, it's cracked. Or the wall tile in the shower meets the wall tile on the other wall, it's cracked because they grouted it. If you use silicone, silicone's more adaptable to deflection. It can handle it without cracking. Caulking's the same way. Me personally, I think 100% silicone stands up longer, holds up better in a high moisture environment like a shower. For a backsplash or your floors or wainscoting in the corner, you can use acrylic caulking. Now we have color matching acrylic caulking for our grouts. So you can get Kahlua cream grout, Kahlua cream caulk. But we don't have color matching silicone. We have bone, black, almond, bisque, some colors. So a lot of people say, I want the color match for inside my shower. I said, you can put acrylic caulking in your shower. Just know in about 3 years, it's gonna start to shrink and crack. Silicone won't do that, okay? So it's up to you, which one you want to use, but you have to put something in those corners. You can't just grout them, okay? They will crack. Once you're done doing that, then you're usually done, okay? A few things I want to touch on. Undercut saw. If you're doing floors, you're coming up to your door casing, okay? When I see this in a house, I automatically know if this was a do-it-yourselfer or a professional. Looking down, like we're looking down on the floor, a door casing is going to look something like this, so the door swings shut here and here. You don't want to cut your tile like this. That's just a bear to cut your tile to match that door casing. Get the Teflon coated backerboard screws. They won't rust or squeak. They're self-tapping, so they countersink below the board. All right, and they have this extra grip, so they're easy. I mean, drilling through hardy board is tough. Hardy board is very dense, okay? So you want to get the good screws for it, all right? So wherever you get your screws here or Home Depot, make sure you get backer board, Teflon coated, self-tapping, countersinking screws, all right? Here's waterproofer. A lot of people now with shower pans, they're taking this, it's a liquid membrane. It's rubber. You roll it on with a nap roller on your shower pan up the wall maybe 3 feet. A lot of people are doing the seams of all their backerboard in showers with this membrane. Very popular. It's giving a lot of people the peace of mind that it's super waterproofed, all right? Not just thin set.
So you don't need that in like a tub surround?
No. Here's a pad scrub. This is how you take your haze off, okay? If you have any haze. We also have Pro Color Grout Colorant. If you have nasty grout at home, but it's in good shape, all it needs to do is either be cleaned or you can stain it. Okay, this is really good stuff. I did this in my own kitchen. You just take this, a little poly brush, like a painter brush, get it all over your grout joints, okay? Wipe it up after about 5 minutes, take some water and a scrub pad, and you've now stained your grout a different color, and it looks brand new, all right? It's also a sealer, so you don't have to worry about sealing your grout. It's a topical stain, so it doesn't embed, it's on top. If you're going from light to dark, you may need 2 coats. If you're going dark to light, same thing, all right? But the grout colorant's been very popular. We also have heavy-duty grout and tile cleaner. So say it's only got a few years of dirt, you can bring it back, all right? It's phosphoric acid. It's not going to burn your skin or anything, but it will bleach your carpet, take the paint off your car. It's made for tile and tile only. And again, no polished stone. Don't pour it on any marble or polished travertine. The finish is gone. But I had a guy who had a gas station, bought it. He moved the racking around. So some of the tile looked brand new. Some look like it's been walked on for forever. He took that phosphoric acid and took a scrubber to it, and it all looked brand new. So the stuff works good. So we have that here. So you don't have to tear out everything if you don't want to. In a nutshell, that's the installation seminar. Any questions?
What's your opinion on like the quality of tools? I mean, like the cheap, you can get the cheap.
For a do-it-yourselfer, there's no reason to go buy the top-of-the-line tools. I mean, you can spend $50 on a trowel or $7 on a trowel. They're both going to do the same thing, okay? Yeah, don't break the bank on buying these tools. They're basic tools, you know. You're going to have to edit this. I've totally forgot to talk to you guys about trowels. I had a guy in Chicago. He came and he said, I got bad grout. You sold me bad grout. I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, the grout's cracking on my floor. And I looked at his receipt and I saw a 1/2-inch backerboard, platinum thin set, admix with the grout. I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to tell you. I go, I feel bad. You know, here's some new grout. Try it again. Maybe you mixed it too loose or something. I don't know. So he's walked away not happy. Comes back a week later. Sold me bad tile. I'm like, what? He goes, tile's cracking. I go, tile just doesn't crack. And now I'm driving out there. So I carry a golf ball wherever I go. And I bounce it. And you can hear tonk, tonk, tink, tink, tink. Throughout my store, I have hollow spots. It's just bound to happen. So I brought the golf ball into his house. Tink, tink. I was like, oh my goodness. There's not nearly enough glue. I got down on one of my knees to look, and the tile moved. When I put my knee on it, I was like, that ain't good. I said, I see everything on your receipt. I don't see your trowel. Yeah, my buddy, he had his trowel. He's been tiling for 30 years. Mind you, these guys are 70, okay? I'm like, okay, is he around? My neighbor, I said, have him come over. So, the tile was 13 inches by 13 inches. He brought over this trowel. I said, sir, that's a trowel for a 2-inch tile, not a 13-inch tile. He goes, no, I've used that for years on 12-inch vinyl. I said, exactly, vinyl. Vinyl's a flat back. You look at any type of tile, it has a bisque, okay? It has lines, little grids to it. I go, that is made for vinyl, not for ceramic. Unfortunately, your whole floor is ruined, okay? You should have bought in the 1/4 by 1/4, even a 1/4 by 3/8, okay? So when you're working with tile, small tile needs very little glue, means very small teeth. You're leaving behind very little. So this is for your 2-inch, your 4-inch, your 3x6s, okay? 1/4 by 1/4s for your 8s, 10s, 12s, all right? 1/4 by 3/8 for 13s, 14s, 16s. the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, 18s, 20s, 24 inch, you're using a lot of thin set, okay? When you're spreading thin set, you got to remember there's a reason why there's notches in a trowel. So when you have your tile here and you push it down, you're pushing the air out, which you're also creating a suction. Okay, you got to lock that tile into place. All right, so that's important that you get the right size trowel. I got another story. This tape, the guy said all his travertine was cracking in Mankato. This is 2 years ago. And the installers, of course, says, oh, it's bad travertine. Well, travertine just doesn't crack. So again, I drive down there. There's a crack all the way from his front door through his kitchen dining room. And this guy had 800 square feet of travertine. And there's another crack. I took my tape measure out. Exactly 36 inches. And then to the next crack, exactly 36 inches. I said, well, that's funny. Then I asked him, how did you install it? Take me through it. I never lead the contractor. I want to know what he tells me. Take me through the process. Well, I thin set a hardy board down. Okay, so I pulled the heat vent and I saw a thin set hardy board. I said, yes, you did. And then we screwed it, yeah? And then we set our tile. I go, I didn't hear you say tape. Oh, yeah, my helper taped. Well, you did. You didn't, but your helper did. Yeah, I don't have to break the tile. I don't have to look. No tape. The warranty on the backboard's void. I looked at the homeowner. I said, I'm sorry you didn't use tape. And then he started saying, well, the roof wasn't on for 4 months and the floors took a lot of water. I said, I can tell because all the corners of your house have cracked drywall. I know your floor is flexing more than it should. But that doesn't, you didn't use tape, okay? So $10 worth of tape, $26,000 mistake to tear out and buy and reinstall all that travertine, okay? So it's important you get the little things to make the project right size trowel using the tape. On a lighter note, I did have a customer come in recently. You know those 3/4 inch hex mosaics? There's 140 of them on a sheet, 12 by 12 sheet. There's a ton of them. Now, she bought 30 feet from me. She came back about 3 months later with a few extra sheets. Basically like this. And she goes, I have 3 sheets to return. I said, outstanding. How did it all turn out? She goes, good. She goes, it was just a bear having to soak these sheets into the water till the tile came off so I could set them. Oh, no. And I just kind of didn't understand what she just said to me. And I was like, well, it turned out right. And she said, yeah, I didn't have the heart to tell her, So whenever you feel like, God, it's a stupid question. No, it's not. You never assume someone knows everything about what they should be doing, okay? So when you're working on your project, you're going to make a mistake. Every one of my projects at my house has a mistake. You know where it is. Everyone else who comes over is going to say, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, this is gorgeous. Guys, we're all the same. Yeah, it looks good, but look what I did right here. I should have done this different. It drives my wife nuts. Why do you show that? I go, it's guys. That's what we do. We show our mistakes. But you're going to make mistakes. You're going to learn from them. You're going to get better every time, but it's not rocket science. You can do this, especially with our videos online, our videos on YouTube. You can watch it being done. You can stop and rewind it, okay? Watch it again. Get the confidence. And then all it takes is mixing that first bucket. You're going to be nervous, but once you start throwing glue down, you're going to be like, all right, this isn't as bad as I thought. It's pretty easy, okay? We're here 7 days a week, all right, Monday through Friday. We always have, or Monday through Sunday. We always have someone here. We're geared to the do-it-yourselfer. We're here to help. So call us. We'll answer any of your questions. Come on in. We'll help cut your tile, okay? Free design service. Check out our website. Anything you need to make it look good, that's what we're here for. All right, well, thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate your time on this. Well, it's 10 degrees? It's gonna get brutal. And I'll be sticking around if anybody wants any questions answered about the shower pan. All right? Thank you.